Hello, movie lovers. Bob for Bob's Movie Review here, and today I'm bringing you guys my September 2019 4K Blu-ray DVD and Steelbook collection update. Be sure to click subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload great new content. If you enjoy the video, be sure to show it some love and give it a like rating. So it was a pretty ridiculous month, a ton of stuff. I'm going to try to remember as much as I can about these titles, guys. I did watch a lot, and in 1 week I watched 14 movies or 13 movies, something like that. You know, it was a big undertaking. I picked up quite a bit of stuff too. We're just going to run through it all quick as possible. Like always, I just want to thank you guys. Without you guys, I'd be nowhere. So let's, if you guys are new to these videos, I just kind of break down all the titles I got, what they were about, if I liked them or not. And then I'll break them down by which studios sent me the most. And I'll make sure you guys know which ones were sent to me. So just for transparency purposes. So first up, we got a stack here from Wild Eye Releasing. This one was called Doll Factory. So like I said, I'm gonna be a little hazy on these because I just watched so much stuff. So this one was about this doll factory, and there was like these murders there, and these kids go there, and these dolls end up coming back to life and going around killing people. The dolls are just terrible. I kind of feel like they're embracing the cheesiness of it all, and you know, this is a horror comedy. And I would say at points parody. I was telling my friend that this was kind of a parody movie, and he said of what? I don't know that it's specifically parodying a plot. Like if you think of Scary Movie, you know, they're parodying Scream. This isn't specifically parodying anything. It's just kind of maybe movies in general and pop culture in general. I found myself laughing through this one a lot, guys, and I enjoyed this one. Next up, also sent over from Wild Eye Releasing, was Return of the Scarecrow. Yeah, that's the title. And this one, it had an interesting beginning in that this group of kids go out to this field, and they're kind of stalked by this scarecrow, and come to find out it's actually just the woman from the story telling the story to another group of kids that are going out there, and they kind of experience about the same thing. It did have this kind of cool, like, little bit past the end or whatever, where they're like, "Oh, we didn't die," or whatever. It was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was an okay movie. Next up from Wild Eye Releasing, they sent over Philosoph on Blu-ray. This one actually released a couple months ago on DVD. And I don't know if, it seems like their Blu-rays always come out a little later than the DVDs, so I don't know if, if they kind of do well, they put it on Blu-ray, or how they do that exactly. But this movie was awesome, guys. They definitely embraced the kind of low-quality, cheesy B-movie. It's almost like a parody, I guess, of B-movies, in that they really make fun of it, and they go over the top. And this guy, he is I'm guessing a pastor, I guess is what he was. And his parents get killed, and so to escape all his problems, he goes to China. And literally, he's just in the forest, and it just says "in China" or something in the text, And he meets this woman, and she has this like claw or rock, or it's probably a claw, and it cuts him, and it kind of gives him these superpowers to turn into a velociraptor. The costume is just the most ridiculous thing. Just so much about this is over the top and funny. I highly enjoyed this one, guys. I definitely recommend you check that one out. Next up, Wild Eye Releasing sent over Clownado. I've been following this one for a while. If you guys follow my website at all, I posted the trailer quite a while back, and I was really excited to check this out. This is another kind of horror comedy. I'm thinking they were going for comedy on this, but it's a circus, and the kind of the head guy or the head clown, or I'm not sure if he was the head guy or just the head clown or whatever. He finds out that his wife is cheating on him, and so he kills the guy. And to get revenge, she asks this lady to like cast this spell or do some sort of incantation on him or something, and it brings in this tornado, and it sucks up all the clowns, and then they're like evil tornado clowns. Like, I think they're just kind of like possessed by the tornado. Like, they're probably dead, right? And they're just kind of like a physical representation of the tornado. and the tornado will just kind of touch down and kill people. There's a lot of just really strange characters that just seem to pop up in this, and they kind of do a lot of really strange things. I was pretty impressed. This is a Todd Sheets film, and I've been kind of back and forth on some of his movies in the past. I thought, though, that this one, it had a really good production to it. I mean, they really put in a lot of effort on this one. I was very pleased with the visual style and effects. The acting was hit or miss, and the story is okay. But I thought this one was a cool movie. At one point, they were talking about how they could kill the tornado, and they were like, it was proven by science that it could be done. And I thought they were going to say they proved it in Sharknado, but they didn't. They did go for kind of like the opposite of the Sharknado method of killing tornadoes, though. But, if you guys are into horror comedy B movies, give this one a chance. I liked it. Next up was Triggered, sent over from Wild Eye Releasing. This one was about this girl who was just like super, the kids of today who are super PC and, Me Too or whatever they call it. And this girl, she just gets mad about everything. And she's like, everything that happens, she's got to turn you in or, try to get people in trouble and just go on and on and on and on and on. And I mean, they call it Triggered, right? You get triggered. And I'm pretty sure that's why this movie's called Triggered. And to be honest, like, the beginning of this movie where she's that character, it was so annoying, and I could not get into it. Like, you kind of just wish somebody would kill her. Like, let her be the one that dies and let her die quickly. But what happens is she's kind of like arguing with this girl, and she accidentally they get into a fight, and she accidentally kills her. And so to cover it up, they use the story of a serial killer who had killed people like 30 years ago, I believe it was. And then she becomes a survivor, and she kind of changes her whole look and attitude. She doesn't care about any of that stuff anymore, and she just wants to be famous for being a survivor. And then there's some more killings, and I kind of really liked the whole slasher part there. I thought that part was cool. And then kind of at the end, it just kind of goes all over the place. Like, I was just having trouble following it. A lot of twists and stuff towards the end. This movie was okay. Like, I did not like the beginning, and the rest, it had its ups and downs, but it was okay overall. Last one from Wild Eye Releasing I got was From the Dead. And for a second there, I was like, okay, what the heck was this movie? But it was about this man and this woman. They were married, and she was like super jealous of him, and they were kind of always fantasizing. Like, she was fantasizing, like, if a woman walked by or whatever, that they were going to have sex. And so she kind of is always nagging him and yelling at him and assumes he's cheating on her. And so they kind of get into like an argument, and she grabs like a kitchen knife, and she's like, do I have to stab you? Or I can't remember what she said. And he thinks she's being serious, and he goes over there and grabs her, and she's like, I'm just joking. Let me go. I'm not going to stab you. And then he falls on the knife or something, and he ends up dying. And their neighbor, he sees the whole thing. And she's trying to cover it up, and so he's like blackmailing her, and they use some kind of spell to bring him back as like a zombie. I thought this one was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but definitely above average. I definitely enjoyed that one. So that was it from Wild Eye Releasing. So next up, we got I Spy from Mill Creek Entertainment. This one was from 2002, and it has Eddie Murphy and Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson is in the CIA, and Eddie Murphy is like a rich, famous boxer. And Owen Wilson's, I can't remember what country they're going to, but he's got to get into this thing, and he needs Eddie Murphy's help to get into it. So it's kind of like a comedy, action, buddy cop type thing. And, I liked the story, and the movie overall was okay. I thought Owen Wilson was pretty good, and not that Eddie Murphy was bad. I just didn't find him to be all that funny. Like, I just didn't find myself laughing at anything he said. And this is an okay movie. Definitely above average. All right, next up from Mill Creek Entertainment was Duplicity, another movie I had never seen. I don't remember. I found it hard to find where the original release date was on this one, 2009. I had never seen it, and when I started watching it, I was so confused because I really didn't know what it was about. And I didn't even see here that it says she's ex-CIA, he's ex-MI6, because when they start the movie, they're spies, and then they kind of go a couple years later, and they're both spies, but they're not government spies, they're corporate spies. And I was just so confused because they're like so worried about what this business is doing. And I was just like, what the heck is going on? I eventually had to pause it and I'll read the synopsis. It's like, oh, okay, they're not government spies anymore. So then it made a lot more sense to me. But it's just super confusing because, you know, even still, they're like, you never know who's doing what or who's telling the truth. And they're trying to like make this plan to make all this money. And there's a pretty good twist ending. I think it's an okay movie. Next up, also from Mill Creek Entertainment, is Do or Die. And I can't remember. Okay, Do or Die was the one that had Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita in it. And for some reason, he wanted to kill these two agents. And it's kind of like a game to him. And he hires all these groups of spies to go kill him. And they just keep kind of escaping. And he's getting angry. I don't know. It was a weird story. It was an okay movie. If you've been watching these Andy Sidar's films, you know, it's more the same. You know, a pretty generic story and pretty generic characters, a lot of skin, some guns, action, explosions. That was an okay movie. And we also got from Andy Sidar's Guns. And this one was about gun smuggling, and they were trying to smuggle these guns, and they needed like all the agents out of Hawaii, so they came up with this plan to get them to leave Hawaii and go to Nevada. And again, you know, it's another Andy Sidaris film, a lot of the same. I thought it was okay as well. Also from Mill Creek Entertainment was this one, Dead Don't Die in Dallas. They changed the title, obviously, to kind of go along with Dead Don't Die. Because I think the original title made a lot more sense. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's about these group of people during a zombie apocalypse, and there's like a preacher or something. I can't remember exactly what he was, and his wife and their son, and it seems like half to all the characters in this movie were LGBTQ or whatever. And not that I had an issue with that, but I just felt like some of the characters were just poorly done. And I mean, the story wasn't real great. And, you know, it was just a low budget movie. And it just wasn't one that I got super into. You know, can't be into everything. Last one here from Mill Creek Entertainment was True Believer. Now, this one actually released in August, I believe it was, wasn't it? And I don't know, review copies didn't really go out till September for some reason. So this was part of their VHS line. It was supposed to go with the other 3 that released that month. And, you know, I had never heard of this movie, but it was pretty cool. It has James Woods as a lawyer and Robert Downey Jr. as, I don't think he's like technically a lawyer yet, or maybe he's got his degree, or he's passed the bar. I don't know what it was, but basically he comes on as an apprentice to kind of learn the business from James Woods. And James Woods is just kind of like getting drug dealers out of trouble. And they come across this case of this guy who's in prison, and he has to kill somebody out of self-defense. And his mom says, you know, he was set up in the first place. He shouldn't even be in prison. And so they go on this adventure to try to prove his innocence 8 years later. And James Woods gets super into it. A little dramatic, I think, over dramatic, but it was a great movie, great acting, great story. Definitely check this one out if you guys haven't seen it yet. All right, next up, Lionsgate sent over Lockup for the first time on 4K. Now, this was a Stallone movie I had never heard of, and in my review, I kind of said, you know, I don't know if maybe this was a little more original when this came out. It's not super original now. It's from 1989. But what happens is Stallone is in like a minimum security prison, and he's only got 6 months left. And just kind of in the middle of the night, the guards grab him and transfer him to maximum security. He doesn't know what's going on. He hasn't done anything. He actually was, I don't know I can't think of what they call it, but he had gotten out to go visit his girlfriend or wife or whatever she was. And so, I mean, they trusted him to just leave and come back. And now all of a sudden he's being transferred to maximum security. And what you come to find out is the warden has a vendetta against him, and he wants him either dead or in prison for the rest of his life. And so he's kind of got all these inmates after him, and he's trying to really just kind of ruin his life. You know, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I definitely enjoyed it. I don't know that some of the parts made a lot of sense. But this is definitely one to check out if you haven't already. Next up, Lionsgate sent over Daybreakers. for the first time on 4K. This one was from 2010. Another one I had never seen. This one had Willem Dafoe, Ethan Hawke, and Sam Neill, and it's kind of a futuristic or near future where vampires have taken over the world, and there's a dwindling human population, and the problem is that they need human blood to live, and they're kind of running out, and Ethan Hawke is like a scientist, and he's trying to come up with synthetic blood or something, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It's definitely a kind of movie I had never seen before. If you guys haven't seen that one, check it out. Next up, Lionsgate sent over Dead Water with Casper Van Dien. There's another one that I was really interested in. It's a thriller, and Casper Van Dien is like friends with this guy, and his friend dies in the army, and you don't see any of that. It's just brought up later, and he's taking the guy's brother and his wife out on his new yacht that he bought. And the whole time, something sinister seems to be going on. But even halfway through the movie, I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just a boat trip. There just didn't really seem to be anything going on. But then later, there are some twists and some violence, and, people's intentions aren't necessarily as they appear. And, I like this one. I thought it was a cool movie. It didn't get the greatest reviews, but I enjoyed it for sure. Check that one out. Next up from Lionsgate was The Tracker. This is the Dolph Lundgren. And to be honest, this movie just confused the heck out of me. I could not get into it. It takes place in Italy, and a lot of the movies in Italian. I watch subtitled movies, but it was a little annoying. I wasn't expecting it from this. And so for some reason, his wife and kid get kidnapped at the beginning. And I kind of want to say they're getting held for ransom, but I don't specifically remember anyone saying anything about a ransom. You know what I mean? And so they end up getting killed. And then it's many years later, the detective contacts him and says he's got information or something. So he comes back to town, and that detective's been killed. And so he's trying to just find who did it. I didn't get into that one, guys. Last up here from Lionsgate was Anna, and I did get into this one. This was a spy film. A little bit annoying. They jump around in time like crazy on this, and the really bad thing is you're just kind of wondering, like, what's the time frame here? I mean, they say like 3 months later, 3 years later, 2 days earlier, and you're just like, but wait a minute, when was she a spy? When was she a model? Was she a spy when she was a model? You're just super confused. It is eventually all explained, but unfortunately, maybe the first half hour or something, I was just like, oh my God, what is even going on? Luckily, it kind of becomes clear, but they do jump around through time throughout the whole movie. So she is a KGB agent, and she just got to kind of kill all these people and steal their information, and she has to use her sexuality to kind of lure these men. I definitely enjoyed this one. I definitely have been a fan of the female spy films. I think they've been pretty good. Definitely check that one out, guys. Next up from Warner Brothers, season 14 of Supernatural. We're gonna have one more season. I haven't watched a ton of this show. I've only watched season 13 and 14. Interesting thing on this one, guys, DJ Qualls does make an appearance. I didn't even recognize him at first, but then I was like, wait a minute, that is DJ Qualls. So, I don't know about this one too much, guys. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I feel like it's just kind of more of the same. I was thinking this was the last season, so they're going to wrap stuff up, but they're just kind of dealing with angels and archangels. That seems to be about what the whole show has turned into. Is trying to defeat Michael and, save Jack and, all this kind of stuff. I did really enjoy the Halloween episode. That one was pretty cool. Other than that, I definitely enjoyed it. It's just more the same if you guys are into that show. Next up, Warner Brothers sent over Young Sheldon, the complete second season. This one is about Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory when he's a child. I thought the show was okay. I was hoping it would be a little funnier. I haven't seen season 1 yet, but overall the show was okay. I just didn't get super into it, but you guys check it out. Maybe you'll like it. Next up, Warner Brothers sent over Shaft. Now, I was very pleasantly surprised with this film. What happens is at the beginning, Shaft and this woman, I can't remember if they were married or not. They have a son in the car, and all these people are trying to kill Shaft, and they kind of shoot up the car, and she's like, we have to get out of this life. So she leaves him, and he doesn't really see his kid again, or maybe he doesn't see him at all. Many years later, his son's friend has died, and he feels like maybe there's something going on. So he asks Shaft for his help investigating it. This movie was a lot of fun. I liked the story. I liked the acting. I thought it was funny. There's a lot of action. All around, this movie was just a lot of fun. Definitely check that one out. Next up, CBS Television sent over SEAL Team Season 2. Unfortunately, I have not seen Season 1, but this one is about a SEAL team and they, kind of their lives outside of work and in combat. Instead of, kind of being more like a run and gun show, they're real tactical and deliberate in their approach. And it's a great story, great characters. Check this one out for sure. CBS Television also sent over Hawaii Five-0 Season 9. Never saw the original show, never saw the first 8 seasons. This one's just about a special unit in the Hawaii Police Department called Hawaii Five-0. And, it's just kind of all the different aspects of investigating crime and arresting criminals and such. I thought it was interesting. I wasn't super into it. I mean, I did like it, but it didn't seem like anything above the ordinary. Next up was NCIS. What season was this? Season 16. I missed the first 15 seasons, but in this one, it's just another crime investigation show. With this one having a twist of that they are naval crime investigation. What does that stand for? Naval Crime Investigation Service. But the thing is, like, even that, it's just normal crimes for the most part, and then they'll be like, oh, he was in the Navy. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they're like investigating like things in the water or on boats and stuff like that. It just, people in the crimes are somehow involved with the Navy. But I enjoyed it. I thought the stories were pretty good. I definitely like that one, guys. Check that out if you haven't already. Paramount Pictures sent over Bottom of the Ninth. This was Joe Manganiello and Sofia Vergara. And he is a young baseball player who, he's not young. In the beginning, he's a young baseball player, and he gets signed with the Yankees. And he's kind of out, and he gets into a fight with these guys. And one guy ends up being killed. And that's kind of the thing. They kind of dangle that on a string throughout the movie, that he kills this guy. And it's like, it's 19 years later, 20 years later, whatever, he gets out and, he seems like a nice guy, but people just look at him as a murderer. And he's like working at this fish market and it's pretty unhappy. And he ends up getting a job back in baseball. And he's trying to get his old girlfriend, Sofia Vergara, back. I definitely like the story, and I like the characters. To me, I haven't seen Sofia Vergara much, but I mean, the performance seemed kind of phoned in a little bit, but she wasn't in it a ton. I like Joe Manganiello for sure, and I did like this movie. I do really like baseball though, so I could have been partial. Next up from Paramount Pictures, to celebrate the 15th anniversary of Mean Girls, which will be on October 3rd, they sent over the 15th anniversary Blu-ray in this special pink case. I had never seen this one before. The year it came out, I was like a young adult or whatever. And the characters who are in this, Lindsay Lohan, Tina Fey, Rachel McAdams, they probably weren't necessarily my favorite at the time. And the story probably didn't sound that interesting to me. But now that I've checked it out, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. It's about this girl played by Lindsay Lohan who her parents moved to, I don't remember if they say where exactly, but they moved to the United States from Africa. And she's been homeschooled her whole life. And now she's 16 and going to high school for the first time. And she doesn't really know what to do. And she kind of gets teamed up with these loners, and there's this other group of girls called the Plastics, and they're kind of like, they're really attractive, superficial, well-dressed, well-off, and they kind of have all these rules and stuff, and she's supposed to infiltrate them and take them down. I'm not really sure why. And she ends up kind of being more like them than she ever intended. I thought it was a good story, a good moral at the end. But it was really funny. I was surprised at how funny this movie was. Definitely enjoyable. Check that one out if you guys haven't already. Next up from Welcome USA was Kung Fu League. And this was about this young guy who's in love with this girl, and he works at like a place that I guess makes comic books. He works at a place that makes comic books, and he's like in love with this girl, but he's too afraid to tell her. And he like wishes on his birthday that the Kung Fu masters will help him come win the girl. And so they end up coming out of the comic book and come to life and to help him, but they don't even know what's going on. They all have this dream about this kid, and they're like, well, we have to go find him and help him, but he seems like almost a lost cause. I definitely enjoyed this one. I thought it was a cute story. There's a lot of action, a lot of humor, a little hard to follow at some points. And this one was in Mandarin. Yeah, there's no English dubbing on this one. Yeah, there's no English dubbing on this one. I did like this one. You guys will have to decide if it's worth reading or not. I definitely think it's worth checking out. Next up from Welgo USA was The First King. Now, this one was about Remus and Romulus and kind of this Roman mythology that these characters are based on, where they kind of get abducted, and there's all these guys abducted with them, and they are kind of put in like these gladiator battles, and they end up escaping, and they have to try to escape all the people who are trying to come kill them. And one of them, and I'm blanking on which one, he just becomes like super power hungry, and he just wants to kill everybody, and he wants everybody bowing at his feet. And through it all comes the creation of Rome. I definitely enjoyed this one, guys. It was definitely cool. Check this one out. I typically I don't like the older mythology stories that much, but so I like the way this one was done. Definitely check that one out. Next up from RLJE Films was Into the Ashes. Now this is a revenge story that had a little twist in the way they did it. So this guy, he goes out hunting, and he's being paid to build this cabin for this guy, and him and his friend go out and work on it. And basically, while he's gone, his wife gets killed, and he comes home and he has to kind of track down the guy who did it and his group and everything. And the kind of the twist they did in this was that they show like the aftermath of the revenge, and I was like, what the heck? They're not going to show the actual revenge, but then they go back. Definitely check this one out, guys. I liked it. Has some good actors, a good story, well done movie. Next up from RLJE Films is A Score to Settle. This one stars Nicolas Cage, and he's just gotten out of prison after being there for 19 years. What had happened was he was in this organized crime or whatever, and the boss kind of went crazy and killed this guy, and he convinces Nicolas Cage to take the fall for it, and they're going to take care of his family and give him all this money, and he's not going to be in jail for very long. But he ends up being there for 19 years, and when he's out there, when he's in there, his wife dies, and his son becomes addicted to drugs, and kind of a lot of stuff changes while he's in there, and he gets out, and he kind of just wants to make everything right with his son and kind of live it up. He also has really bad insomnia, and I don't think people who watch this understood quite like I do that part. Not that I have insomnia, but just that it was so perfect because he's got this really strange, erratic acting behavior, and it just makes him seem like he really has insomnia. I thought this was a good movie, guys. I like the characters. I like the story. The twist towards the end, I don't know if I cared for that quite so much. The second time when I watched it, I knew about it, and I was kind of looking for clues that were pointing to it, and I don't think there were really any, and I was kind of questioning if it even made sense. And if you look at it one way, I think it does. But overall, guys, I really enjoyed this one, so give this one a chance. Next up from Small Town Monsters is Momo, the Missouri Monster. Now, I've only seen a few of the Small Town Monster titles. They're this company who makes these kind of like monster movies, but not like Frankenstein or, real myths of monsters or whatever, like Bigfoot, Momo, all these kinds of things. And so this one was really unique, the way they presented it. The kind of the narrator or the host or whatever, he was kind of pretending like this whole thing was a TV show, and this was just another episode. And they were kind of discussing different things. They had interviews with people, and instead of having some really bad reenactments, they kind of just made these little movies to do the reenactments, which I thought was a really cool idea. I really liked the way it came out. I enjoyed this one, guys. If you guys are into kind of these regional myths, check that one out. Next up from Arsploitation Films was The Devil's Playground. And this one was from 1976. And I believe it's like a restored, presented in a brand new HD transfer. So yeah, I thought it looked pretty good for a DVD. And it's about this Catholic boarding school, I guess you'd call it. I'm not sure exactly what you would call it. Oh, it says a seminary in the 50s. Oh, so this takes place even further back in time. And what it is it's all these men, young men, teenagers and stuff. They kind of all live together in this school. And they've kind of made all these rules. And I know kind of like Catholics have a lot of rules, but it seemed like they kept saying that like even just the men who were running the place came up with all these rules. And they were like really trying to curb people's, you know, kind of their feelings and their sexuality, trying to make sure people weren't sinning and were really just staying celibate. And it was backfiring, you know, a lot. And it's mainly about this one boy and kind of his confusion. And instead of teaching them about, you know, their bodies and changes, they just kind of want to cover it all up. And you know, I thought this was an interesting movie. You know, it's probably not something I would typically watch, but I definitely found it interesting. You know, if you guys want to check it out for a drama, check that one out. I believe this one I just reviewed in September, I think, on Yara. This one was from Magnet Releasing. And this was a sci-fi movie where these people are taking this ship to Mars, and because the Earth is like uninhabitable, like all these movies. And basically what happens is they get thrown off course, and they lose all their fuel or something, or something's wrong with their engine, and they can't adjust course. So they're like, well, there's nothing we can really do. We have to just float through space until we come to like a planet or something, and we can use the gravity to get us back on course. And they're like, we don't expect it to take more than 2 years, and the whole trip was only supposed to be like 3 weeks, or, you know, but this whole ship is set up like a cruise ship. There's like bars and restaurants and all this stuff. It's definitely an interesting movie. It was in Swedish. It is subtitled. Definitely kind of a crazy ending to it. There are a few things that I kind of had issue with, but overall, you know, I thought for a sci-fi, it's pretty good. And last movie sent to me for review, we're already half an hour in, from Cinedigm. This is Canal Street. This one was about this young kid who, his dad is a lawyer, I believe it was. His dad was a lawyer, and he kind of gets moved out of like the lower class neighborhood and into the upper class neighborhood. And he goes to the school, and he doesn't really fit in right away. And this one kid specifically is kind of really racist towards him. But then, like, all of a sudden they become friends, and he's driving him home from this party, and he ends up getting killed, and everybody thinks it's him, even though, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things where there's no proof either way that he did or didn't. And, you know, I know it seems like there should be proof that he did to prove it, but they're really just out for him. This is a great movie, guys. I really enjoyed it. Definitely check this one out. All right, so I think next I'll do the Dollar Tree purchases. They did get Blu-rays in and DVDs again at Dollar Tree. I was really sick when it happened, and I was just exhausted, and I was just like, whatever, I don't need any of those movies. There's not going to be anything there I need. And my friend went and he took a picture and asked me what I wanted. So he picked some up for me. So obviously I didn't do a video or anything, and I don't necessarily know exactly what they had, but I'll show you guys what I got. First up, I got Red vs. Blue Season 10. I think I have 1 or 2 seasons of this already. I remember watching like a little bit of like, I don't know if it was like the first season or whatever, when they're playing on the original Halo, and it's kind of like they do, I can't think of what they call it, but they're like acting out through the game, and they have like their stories and whatever, and it's kind of funny. And so I thought I'd check that one out. 10, I have one of the other ones, I think one other season, but I'm not sure which one. I also got this Yoga Hosers I don't know. Was this movie wasn't from Kevin Smith, was it? But it has his daughter, Harley Quinn Smith. Oh, it says Kevin Smith, Johnny Depp. I really don't know a lot about it, but I figured for $1 I'd check it out. I don't believe I had this one on Blu-ray, the Pink Panther 2. Sorry, I was trying to figure out why this is so heavy, because it only says Blu-ray on the front. On the back here it says Disc 1, Blu-ray, Disc 2, bonus DVD disc, Disc 3, digital copy. So I guess there's 3 discs. This is like super heavy. I wasn't a big fan of these Steve Martin Pink Panther movies, but it's Steve Martin. If I could upgrade to the Blu-ray for $1, go ahead and do it. Let's see, also got this Scooby-Doo Chillout Scooby-Doo original movie. I typically don't buy a lot of the Scooby-Doo movies because they come out with so many of them, but for $1, love Scooby-Doo. Definitely check it out for $1. Hangman, I don't know. It seems familiar. I might already have this one. I haven't seen it, but I may have picked it up before. That disc is loose. Kickboxer Vengeance. It does have Dave Bautista and Jean-Claude Van Damme. I believe this one was not from too long ago, 2016. Never seen it. I got, what is this one? Justice League Crisis on Two Earths DVD. And Scooby-Doo Mask of the Blue Falcon original movie. I believe that was all my Dollar Tree pickups. Now, if you guys didn't hear, they're redoing the Disney Movie Rewards, and it's gonna be called something else. And they were kind of, I don't know if they're just trying to get rid of all their old inventory or what, but they're having like a huge sale. If you guys aren't familiar, when you buy Disney movies, they come with a code. You put the code in on the Disney Movie Rewards website. It gives you points, and you can use those points to get things. And like if you think about it, it's like what, 100 or 150 for a Blu-ray or something. And then a lot of times they're like 800 for a Blu-ray or something like that. But they were down to like 200. So it was like basically for 2 codes or something, you get a free movie. These numbers could be way off, but you get what I mean. They're super cheap. So I picked up a bunch. I'm going to have some in this month, and I'll have some in next month's. But I got the 3 Musketeers. This is, I don't know, I've never seen this. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. And this one does include Blu-ray, DVD, and digital. I don't know if this is old enough that it would be on a disc or if it would have a code. It might have a disc. Had slipcover too. Pretty cool. I got Planes, Fire, and Rescue. I don't think that I have this one. I think this is the sequel, isn't it? I think I have the first one, but not the second one. The Pirate Fairy, Blu-ray, DVD, and digital. These are all just Disney movies I didn't have, not necessarily ones I was looking for, but for such a cheap price. I had like over 6,000 points, you know. National Treasure 2, Book of Secrets. I never did see this one. I gotta check this one out. The first one, I always say, like, the first time you watch it, it was so cool, and then after that, every time you watched it, it just got more and more boring. The Princess Frog. This one is a Blu-ray and DVD on that one. And I did also pick up from Best Buy. They had Brother Bear and Brother Bear 2 for only like $10. I've never seen these, but I figure for $10 for both of those, pretty good deal. Now for like kind of just the rest of my standard purchases, I did pick up Star Trek Kelvin Timeline Trilogy. This was exclusive to Amazon in 4K. They did release the Blu-rays wide, but the 4Ks were exclusive. I did make an unboxing, but I don't know if I ever posted it. So you have one case here with the 4Ks, and then one case here with the Blu-rays. Pretty cool set. I think on Star Trek Beyond, it's been so long since I've seen these. Star Trek Beyond, I have this version now. I have the Amazon exclusive that included 4K and 3D, and I have the Best Buy exclusive Blu-ray Steelbook. So quite a few versions of that movie. I liked all those. Walmart had Kin for pretty cheap on 4K. I did get the Steelbook, but sometimes I just like to buy the standard versions too. I've never seen that one though. I believe this one is the right month. Us. I picked up the 4K because it was pretty cheap. I did like that movie. I found it super confusing. I know I keep saying this, but I need to rewatch it. I did pick up the Amazon exclusive Vengers Assembled collection. I did post an unboxing of this. It has this great fold-out artwork here. Hey, I can get it all on camera. It's pretty cool. Definitely like this. Since they are Disney discs, I mean, they are region free, so you can watch them in a North American player. But I mean, I already have them all other versions anyways. Also picked up White Boy Rick. Never seen that one, but it was down to like, I don't know, it was like 3 for $20 or something. Also picked up Alpha on the same deal. Also picked up a Long Shot for $13. I can't remember if I got this on Amazon or Best Buy. I haven't seen it. And from Epic Pictures, I did pick up Arctic. The last 3 or 4 movies in their series, and they kind of got me because I keep buying them because they're numbered there, and I want to have the whole set. And if you pre-order them, they're pretty cheap, only $15, and then there's like 5 shipping, so they're about $20. I haven't got around to watching them. All right, guys, that isn't it. Now we got the Steelbooks. All right, we got the Inside Out 4K Steelbook. All these Pixar ones that came out, I did do one video on all of them if you guys want to check that out. Cars 4K, definitely love Cars. Never seen Inside Out. Cars 2, I need to rewatch. Finding Dory, I've never seen that one. And Finding Nemo, it's not one of my favorites, but I do definitely like it. The Good Dinosaur, I have not seen. Brave, I have not seen. Ratatouille, I have not seen. All right, then I got the John Wick 3 4K Steelbook from Best Buy. And I did post an unboxing of that one. I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't seen 2 yet, so I need to watch them both. And then I did pick up the Target exclusive Blu-ray version. I did record a video, but I haven't posted it. I got the Aladdin 92 4K Steelbook. Great movie for sure. I posted an unboxing of that. And then I also got the Aladdin 2019 4K Steelbook. I did post an unboxing and review on that one. A review of the movie was in a different video. And then I posted an unboxing of that Steelbook. I also got the Sleeping Beauty Signature Collection Steelbook. Hopefully that unboxing will go up soon. The 101 Dalmatians Signature Collection Steelbook. Again, hopefully that unboxing will go up soon. Picked up the second release of the Justice League on 4K Steelbook. It was only like $8. I couldn't turn it down. I probably recorded a video, but it hasn't been posted. And last up was the Matrix Trilogy on 4K Steelbook. Love the first Matrix. The other 2 are kind of garbage. I don't know why they're making another sequel, but that is it, guys. Well, I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. If you haven't already, subscribe for more videos. Check out the videos. Check out my website, BOBSMOVIEREVIEW.com. And I'll see you guys next time.